Is it launched?
Yes. Okay, Priscilla, away you go.
All right. Welcome, everyone. And today we are privileged to have Peter Towers with us, our business advisory expert, who prepared a presentation for us to start the new season. He wants to show us how to meet the challenges coming up in the new year. And I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Welcome, Peter.
Thanks, Priscilla. Good afternoon, everyone who've clicked on to watch this as a live presentation or who are watching it as a recording later on. I know we've got people from the Brisbane Business Group and the Business Analysts Architects Group. And anyone else that happens to have joined us, welcome. And I hope that you will get some answers to some of your business questions by some of the subjects we're going to discuss with you today. My background, I probably should have finished that. My background is I'm an accountant, company director, company secretary. I was the company secretary and chief financial officer of a listed public company, and I have worked as an accountancy firm principal. These days, I'm the managing director of Towers Business Development. We are a specialist consultancy undertaking non-taxation work. Priscilla can do your taxation work, but non-taxation work for SME clients all over Australia. And also, I'm the managing director of ESS BIZTOOLS, and we supply material to help accountants supply services to you to help you run better businesses. So Priscilla, thank you very much for inviting me here today to be able to talk to this group.
We do appreciate your presence, Peter, and we feel privileged to have you.
Thank you. So without any, we'll have some questions in about 20 minutes time if you want some questions. So if you think of a question as we're going through it, please write it down so you can ask me. Let's look at what's been happening. Inflation is still too high. And in fact, it's going to be very interesting what comes out of the Labor Party caucus meeting in Canberra tomorrow. I hope something does, because I read somewhere that the taxpayers are paying for this trip over $500,000. So hopefully something's going to come out of this to help with our economy. But I must admit, I haven't got high hopes. Interest rates didn't move in December, but there's a lot of speculation that when the Reserve Bank meets next week on the 6th of February, that they could go higher. And that's going to cause pain for a lot of SMEs. And obviously it's causing pain out in the consumer market, the people who have got housing loans and are finding that their costs are going higher. And many businesses are still having trouble hiring staff. It's an ongoing problem. Unemployment's now 3.9%. I read a report the other day that is projecting that it will go to something like 4.6% later this year. So we should be able to find staff, but it seems to be very difficult for many SMEs to be able to employ staff with the skill level that they're looking for. One interesting announcement that was made around the middle of November and was implemented in December was that the long-awaited replacement for the Accelerating Commercialisation Grant, which was one of the most popular grants for small, medium-sized enterprises with turnovers under $20 million, has been launched. Now, the new program is called the Industry Growth Program. It's great for SMEs. There's grants available for companies. Now, it's only available for companies, so SME companies. And they need to have undertaken some development of innovative products, processes, or services. Now, these are all defined in the National Reconstruction Fund, and we've got them there on the screen for you now. It's value add in resources, value add in for agricultural, forestry, or fisheries. Now, there is full explanation of what these brief terminologies mean, and they are on our websites, Towers Business Development. So that's www.towersbusiness.com. .com.au. There's no development in the web address. And also on our ESS Small Business website, which is www.esssmallbusiness.com.au. And we'll repeat those webinar.
Yeah, these websites were actually advised in the for our members. They do have it in the description. And I will also put them once again in the comments box so the members can go there directly. So
Okay.
you will find them in comments box, and also these slides, they're going to show it to you. But the members, they do have all these websites they can have themselves, and including where they can subscribe for your newsletters weekly. So
Okay.
they do have all that information, and I will repeat it for them so they don't miss it. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just come back and continue to go through the information for the new grant. Value add in agriculture, forestry and fisheries, transport, medical science, renewables and low emission technologies. So they're I think we've left out a couple off there. My apologies. Defense capabilities and renewables are the other one. Oh, we've put them together, renewables and low emission technologies. Now, some of those headings are rather vague, I think, and I'm sure you probably agree with me. So we have published on our website, as I was just saying just before, the full details of what the government's released as to what's included in this program. So it's worth looking at if you happen to be involved in one of those industry categories and you have developed a new product, process or service, or have significantly redeveloped one. I've got about 4 clients getting ready to submit applications on this grant. The grant has a maximum of $5 million available, but the client has to match it. So that's a pretty big project. So if you got 5 million, that means you're spending $10 million worth of activities. Sorry, I got ahead of myself there with the slides. I'll just go back. So if you are interested in talking to me about getting involved in that grant, I'd be very happy to hear from you. There is an introductory side of the grant where the grant funds range up to $250,000 for basically conducting the initial work so that you end up with a prototype that's able to be seriously looked at. So that's the new
question here at this. I'm sorry to interrupt. My question was here. You are also able to help small business with other grants, not just this one particular grant. If you go back one slide for us here. So we just make sure they know what we're talking about. But I am sure you can help small business with other grants available.
Oh yeah. There's 100, 200 grants available for small businesses. This one, you've always got to check what the government means by small businesses. Some of them is only companies. So research and development, which I'm going to comment a little bit later in today, is only for companies. The grant that we're talking about now is only for companies. And we have to understand the way the bureaucrats think in Canberra. They really believe you have to be running a company to be serious about running a business. And that's how some of these grants are planned. Okay, so if we just move on up, I've done that. Let's have a look at some of the recent activities that you might have been involved in. It's the start of a new year. It's 2024. And 2023 was very rough for a lot of people in business. Hopefully it's going to change, but it won't change unless you change what you're doing. In my opinion, you need to be looking at doing something different. So let's start. Are you happy with your business? Let's review it. I can review your business. Priscilla can review it with you. Go through and try to identify what are the problem areas. I often ask people, what wakes you up at 3 a.m.? And one guy said to me, how do you know I wake up at 3 a.m.? I said, well, a lot of people in business do, including me. Not every night, I must admit. So how's your innovation journey going? A lot of people are on the innovation journey. And I get frustrated at times when people come to me and they say, I've spent $230,000 on this project. And I said, oh, okay, what's your ABN? And they look at me and I say, well, you're a company. What's your company registration number and all your numbers? And they haven't got any of that. And they weren't a company. And if they weren't a company, they can't claim the benefits. So you need to please talk to Priscilla at the very beginning and open up to your accountant of what you are planning to do in your business. If you're going to undertake research and development work, we need to get you into the right structure. If you think you can apply for this new grant, the industry growth grant, you need to be a company. A board of advice. I've done a fair bit of work as both a director on boards of directors from a public company board down and boards of advice. Boards of advice are becoming a lot more popular amongst SMEs, especially SMEs who are wanting to scale up. It's a bit of a dress rehearsal, if you like, for what might happen if you get bigger and you do have a fully functioning board of directors in operation. So we're writing some new material, which is to be included within our packages in the next few weeks on boards of advice. And if you want to talk to Priscilla or myself about a board of advice, please contact us and we'll give you the background in them. We produce a weekly summary, which we call Improving Your Business, whereby we try to track on things that we've uploaded to social media for that week and other issues that are affecting business operators. Now, obviously, this is across all types of businesses and it does vary. And hopefully you'll get something out of that particular article, which we release on a Friday or a Saturday. It does depend how many articles we've put out during the week. And in this edition, which went out last weekend, we talked about the difficulty environment. We've already mentioned that. But then we got onto this review about how's your profit? Are you happy with your cash flow? I strike business after business that's not happy with their cash flow. Well, things can be done about it. First of all, you need to look at what's causing the cash flow problems. And I find it can be high inventory. People have bought too much stock or they haven't sold enough. Now, I know stock can become a real problem in these supply chain difficulty times, and especially if you're bringing product in from overseas, whereby obviously supply chains have been disrupted by the war in Israel, the war in Ukraine, the problems in the Red Sea. It's made shipping very difficult. In fact, I read an article last night that said we've all now come to realize that the sea lanes are very important, and they are. So this all might be affecting your cash flow. Maybe your debtors days outstanding are too high. Incidentally, do you know what your debtors days outstanding are? If you don't know, please ask Priscilla to calculate it or send a note through to me, and we'll. You have to give us a bit of details on your turnover and what your terms of trade are, but we'll be able to calculate it for you. What do you want your business to look like in 3 years' time? I do a lot of work with companies whereby we're doing financial forecasting. We're predicting what their business is going to look like in 3, 5, 10 years' time. That requires budgets to be prepared. It really requires the leadership team to sit down with me or someone like me and really think through what you're going to do in your business so that we can then prepare budgets, cash flow forecasts, and then projected balance sheets so that we can put them up on a screen and say, as long as you do what you've told us you're going to do, and we borrow this amount of money and we do this, perhaps you might go to the public to try to raise some capital under Section 708 of the Corporations Act. You can raise up to $200,000 that way from only 20 investors, though. Or if you're a very small company and only been undertaking research and development type activities, you could be eligible for the early stage innovation company status. And one of the real benefits there is that the investors get something out of it. Malcolm Turnbull was the Prime Minister that brought that legislation in. And if you know Malcolm Turnbull's story, of course, he was one of Australia's first millionaires, in fact, multi-millionaires, out of some innovation products that he invested in. I don't think he actually invented it, but he was one of the key investors. People looked at it and said, this looks quite good. Therefore, he's got empathy for small businesses inventing things. And he brought the legislation in and said, we need to encourage investors to invest in young startup companies. So the carrots are there, and they're quite significant, because if you invest, you receive 20% of your investment as a credit to your tax bill. Now, there is a maximum. So the maximum that a sophisticated investor can get from that process is $200,000, which equates to $1 million investment, of course. And if you can't use it all up in the first year, it doesn't matter. It just keeps on going until you use it up. A retail investor can only get a maximum rebate of $10,000, but it's worth having. But the other big benefit is those investors do not have to pay any capital gains tax on those shares that were allocated as part of the becoming early stage innovation status. Now, there is a process, nothing simple in this world, especially when it's designed in Canberra. We've got to work through and go through the processes, but it's worthwhile looking at. And if you know someone, it might be an associate, it might be a son or a daughter that's involved in a business, that you can alert them to say, hey, there's benefits here. You might be able to go out and raise that $500,000 you need, or $1 million you need in your business. And finally, as we quickly go through what opportunities are there in raising some money to help you bring your business to fruition, is crowdsource funding equity raising. Now, this was the stablemate for early stage innovation company. They both got introduced by Malcolm Turnbull at the same time. And this is for companies with turnovers under $25 million that are keen to do something. They have to be a private company or an unlisted public company, and they can raise money. Now, again, there's a process. It has to be worked through step by step, but it's a great way to be able to get some share capital. If you have got no assets left to mortgage to a bank, or you're sick of paying banks their interest and their principal repayments. So think about it when you're looking at where's your business going to be in the next 3, 5, 10 years' time. What do you like? You don't have to own 100% of a business to be in charge and be successful. Look no further than Rupert Murdoch. Over the years, he's kept control of the News Limited group, but he definitely doesn't own even 50%. But he's managed to do that. So you can do that. Business plans are very important, and we've mentioned them in the article that you can click onto and get in this week's Improving Your Business.
Yeah, the link will be there. Yeah, so identify the problems and how you're going to get help, because small business needs a lot of support. And that's why we are here, to tell you that there is support available, and we are ready to help you with what you need. One of us or both of us, we work together. If you need business advice, Peter is there. If you need supporting documents like cash flows, reports, tax returns, which Peter needs to work from, I can help you to build those for you, so you can get the best advice possible out here. We are here to help, and our new season starts here because we want to make you aware that you're not alone and support is available.
Yes, Priscilla, and I talked about there going through that on research and development. Research
Yeah.
and development is a great opportunity for people.
We will talk about this in the future presentations. We'll talk about crowdsource funding, equity raising. We already touched that subject in some of our presentations. I think it's good to talk about that. And research and development, we will press it on so small business is aware of the incentives they can get. So we will talk about important subjects for you.
Okay, so is there any questions anyone's raised, Priscilla?
Not questions at this stage, but the members, they will have a chance because I will put comments. Members, they will have a chance to ask questions about these presentations, ask questions from our further presentations, ask questions about anything which they might believe we can help them with. So I will encourage them on the Meetup website. And so they will have a chance. Now we lost your screen. Do you want to still share something on your screen, Peter?
Oh, okay, right. We'll just go back. Okay, we got that back now. Improving. Well, there's just some contact details there for me, Priscilla. www.towersbusiness.com.au.
Yeah, that's important. You leave it for a minute.
And
they also have more details in the description of today's presentation. And I introduce you there. They do have the links to your websites, links to my websites. And so members, they can become aware of who we are and what we can do for them. We will engage them in the comments box on the website to ask questions. And we will also upload this presentation. We will also upload this presentation. So the recording of this presentation, so you can always go back. And the members who didn't have a chance to be with us today, they will have a chance. And also I will make sure we'll upload some important presentations we've done earlier with Peter, something which might interest you. Now, also, please suggest topics you would like Peter to talk about in the future. And so we will tailor the presentations according to the interests from you. Feel free to suggest what topics you would like to hear about. Back to you,
yes,
Peter.
That's important, Priscilla, because if any of the members of these organisations have got questions they'd like to get answers, is an ideal opportunity. Just submit them, and I'll do some research, and we'll give you what we think the answer is for those particular questions. And if we can't answer, we'll try and get someone who can answer for you, so that you understand what's happening.
That's right. So we are here to help. Some of the questions I can answer, but please feel free to answer, because we want to build a dynamic group here. The groups we are attracting, small business groups, they've been abandoned in the last few months, few years, couple of years, but we want to just re-engage them to be active and help themselves to the resources we have for them.
Okay, well, Priscilla, I finished what I was going to talk about today. Obviously, there are difficulties out there, but there's opportunities for businesses that are wanting to do things. Unfortunately, there's a high number of inflation. I was reading a report yesterday, over 2,000 construction type businesses in the building industry have failed, unfortunately, during 2023. That's very sad. And I think what it's highlighting for business operators is that you need more from your accountants or your advisors than just the statutory requirements. The requirements for an income tax return are important, but there's a lot more to that, to running a business. You need to, I think, be receiving daily, weekly information, monthly profit and loss account and balance sheets, profit and loss account for each business that you've got. They might all be owned by the one company or the one partnership, but break it down so you can really zero in and see about the efficiencies. And you need key performance indicators and metrics on the performance, gross profit percentage. The public company that I was in was one of Australia's largest meat companies. So we had export meat works, we had small goods factories, we had retail butcher shops. And we used to really run the business on knowing the gross profit percentages of each activity. That's what the managers were looking for. The 13 accountants that I had working for me in that company were there to supply the data, to help the managers make their decisions. You're in the same position, you people watching this recording who are running your own businesses. It is difficult, I know that, but I think you need to appreciate that one of the costs of running a business is having some advanced accounting input that does not need to be full-time, because most SMEs just could not afford a full-time person. And to be honest, they probably wouldn't have enough work to do. But you need a few hours each week, most businesses, I think, of a highly qualified virtual chief financial officer person who can really make sure you're getting the key data that you need to effectively run your business. I think that's one of the real challenges, Priscilla, that businesses have as we start 2024. And I hope when we get to December of this year and we have a review on the year, that the people in your two groups that are participating in these webinars have taken that suggestion on board and have done something which will help them survive and hopefully thrive in 2024 and scale their businesses.
The idea is to have themselves to help available. Like they have to realize that when they need help and to reach out, because that could mean a big difference to their business and fast track, fast track to success. I think next time we should talk about how to run a successful business and a small business to be aware what they have to put in place and implement for them to actually feel good and thrive in the future. After COVID, it's very hard to recover. But I think that topic, we had it once, Peter. Let's repeat the topic, how to run a successful business.
Which we'll do that. So the next session, I think, is on Tuesday, the 27th of February at 12 noon AEST. I look forward to people joining us. Priscilla, thank you for inviting me to participate in this series with you. And I think we need now to say goodbye, and we'll catch up with everyone later on.
And thank you for supporting our groups, and we are very privileged to have you. And we appreciate everything you do for our small businesses around.
Okay, thank you very much, Priscilla. Thank you, everyone, and we'll catch you on the 27th of February. But if you've got any questions in the meantime, please send me an email, peter@towersbusiness.com.au. Thank you. And obviously, if you've got accounting questions, you go to Priscilla. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Peter. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.